with the fact that it's not a hard initiator, more of that late game carry potential. I just, yeah, I guess adaptation is what I'm trying to get at here, and we'll have to see if DCG's bottom lane are going to work out fine here, or if that Alistar pick is just going to screw with them a bit, because CFO versus DCG, this is our battle of the tide first. 7-win streak for CFO, and for Deep Cross Gaming, it's more like 5, but both are 11-3, with the winner of this going to 12 towards our final week of the PCS. Clement, we've only got 3 games for both these teams after this as well. And I feel like DCG have an easier schedule. I was talking to you before. For DCG, their schedule looks quite realistic to get first, but this is going to matter if they can pull it off, because BYG, Jewish Team, and Frank Esports should be wins for DCG. But CFO, man, they could completely upset that and deny them from locking in first in this split.
Now with PSG being taken down a peg, we are talking about potentially 2 new teams in the top 2. So
yeah,
that would be massive for either one. I do feel like at the end of the spring split playoff, CFO just kind of ran out of steam. Their decision-making was a lot worse in the final set. And if they can, you know, play a little fewer games, that's going to be a huge boon to them. We are going to get a bit of a level 1 poke in here. Nothing major as Koala just getting vision.
Yeah, making sure that jungle's starting on the bottom side, so a path up to the top side is Leaky is just going to be looked at for now. And I was just wondering, I'm like, hang on a minute. What are we getting up on the top side? Nothing apart from wards into the entrance of the jungle. Defensive wards, in fact, from DCG. While Gemini is also starting on this bottom side and seems to be pathing upward. Clement, walk me through the early game here and lane setup, because with a lot of negativities for DCG and how they draft this, I kind of want to know how pre-6 they get involved, if at all.
I don't think we're going to see much pre-6 at all. I feel like this is going to be a very quiet early game for them. And then it's going to be about where Nesty can move to. This is a super interesting setup. He's not running with teleport. He's running with double mobility summoners here. The Ghost and the Nerfed Predator.
A lot of them.
Yeah, so he has a lot of power in these side lanes, but at the same time, I don't feel like there's enough crowd control for either of these side lanes for him to really invest early on. So I think it's going to be a post-6 move. He's probably going to heroic entrance into one of these side lanes and then chase up with his remaining summons.
As you said, I mean, there's no CC, like, probably looks to be top, right? Play around the Mega Nard timer, but such a specific window. When for CFO, Clement, does it just come down to scaling on top of that as well? Because I feel like at DCG, we still have really strong scaling elements there, but when you have such reliable, anti-dive, space control, like so many things that come into favor, the CFO, their scaling might be more impactful. As let's ignore that, because Chris Carter might get stunned up here. At the very least, Sean won't have enough damage earlier on. Clement, my question still stands. Thoughts on scaling and the conversation around it?
So I would say that, you know, if it was a patch ago, I'd say CFO definitely have far better scaling. This patch, Sivir is just such a monster. I feel like she throws off a lot of these calculations. And I will say in the late game, it is very positioning dependent, because CFO don't really have a traditional tank outside of the Alistar, of course. So the ricochets, I just feel like even just a 3 auto attack ricochet, a triple tap, can waste CFO. Yeah. There's a lot of members here that, if they don't take care of their spacing, they could just go down. Overall, I still think CFO have a stronger late game, because in the late game, it's just harder to dive and just chase down targets in general.
True.
But I would say that, you know, it's definitely possible for a Sivir pop-off to take DCG back up top.
I think what most people forget is the fact that Sivir now, like, it doesn't infinitely bounce and go through everyone, but then never come back. Like, 8 bounces. But if you are, as you said, in a choke, with no one else there, as we look at the 2v2 yet again, it'll continue bouncing back as Koala gets 2 of them, 3 of them. Imagine if that's late game at 3 items Sivir, it's going to hurt a lot more as DCG explore their options in the bottom lane. As you said, there's no CC here. It's going to be hard to kill an Alistar or a Zeri.
They need Koala to engage into this one, and I don't think they will. So this is just Wukong finishing his path and being underneath the tower to see if something does happen. Most likely not, and we actually get spotted.
Yeah. a bit of vision, and for Gemini, straight up towards the Gromp. Already going there anyway, but maybe this opens up the option to clean up towards the bottom side or look towards something mid. At the very least, Clement, I was going to say before that as CFO get the 2 on engage. Again, Koala, that spot of the jungle hurts quite a lot in DCG. They might have the Yumi, but he's getting some really nice knockups.
So here is where Nesty starts to come into play. He's got that level 5 and shit.
Walking into it, Koala's still here though, and Ghost is burned again. Knocked up. Chris Carter is the one that checked this. Koala sacrificing his life as the flash is burned. But the hero's entrance in the nick of time. Sean so unlucky with the timing. His best. He's running at him. Flashes shield to Duran. The counter punch, Clement. It begins.
Oh, they really overplayed their hand onto that one. DCG had an extra summoner coming in from the Yumi, and then Galio actually ghosted in to make sure he was in range for that heroic entrance. Beautiful stuff by Nesty. Honestly, I felt like CFO actually kind of handed that to DCG. It would not have been possible to make that play unless CFO all-in onto that one. And unfortunately, that's exactly what they did. Look at how much different distance Galio actually gets here. So he starts on the top side of the mid lane and ends up ghosting and running towards the bot, making it in the end here. Just looking at this bot lane, great start for Skada. Flashes to finish off the kill, gets the heal from the Yumi, and then you just get the chase down from Nesty.
Amazing for the duo, the pathing of Woody standing in front of the Zeri. Like, you can't do anything because your Q is not an auto attack. Well, it is an auto attack. It's an ability auto attack. You know what I mean. I'm not going to explain it. Like, what a pain. But the point is, standing in front of it, Woody was able to deny the damage. Chris Carter survives 2 assists. Unfortunately, not getting the kills, but still getting enough to pick himself up a Noon Quiver. And Nesty's now on the board. Clement, I guess we're seeing how DCG want to play the comps now that they're level 6. As Gemini has himself a level 6 too. Hana's only 4. Now, mid might be going well, bot might be going well, but I think jungle could be a bit of a problem.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Hana is this far behind. So far,
double.
The only thing we've seen him do is actually just go to the bot lane. Now, of course, a lot of this does come off the fact that we did see Wukong nerf on this patch, but I didn't think it would be that big of a difference. I'm kind of surprised. We weren't paying that close attention to his pathing. Yeah. But he's definitely further behind than he should be. And I don't feel like Gemini actually even invaded on him. So this is just straight pathing diff.
I mean, it's insane. It's, again, almost double. Nesty, the flag goes up, but he's also getting out CS in the lane, as you'd expect of most Galios. He picked up the kill, so the goal's not going to be that much different. And remember that Predator in lane, plus the fact his hero's entrance is almost available, is going to be a big key factor. But with Gemini outbalancing this, Clement, that I think is going to change a lot with all of his jungle respawning up as well. He's got a Herald as well, with Rest doing pretty well in the GP versus Nah matchup. And Gemini's just going to go for the objective straight out.
That was a little bit too obvious from VP. Bad acting on his part. Galio clearly on the way there, and they also suspect Hana.
The damage. Oh my god. Heartbreak is available. Doesn't even use it. Leaky not going into Meganar. As Gemini stays here, as that Conqueror gets fully stacked, it's just so worrisome. With Gemini now forcing his way into the Herald.
I gotta say, Rest is BM, but he ain't that BM. That was the most obvious pick. Leaky could have thrown at Rest. Rest just backs up, waits until the Galio to show again. And they even kind of guess where Hana is on the map. So, great find for CFO.
Yumi, hang on, going full on in. Gemini flashes against the wall and Heartbreak is out, but we'll get the final chapter. Jumping back in, the Meganar from Rest. DCG were willing to take this one. Excuse me, it was Leaky who turns the fight with Nesty full on inning as well. Clement, when the ultis come together, that 1-2 punch hurts like hell.
So beautiful coming in from DCG on that one. They managed to get a beautiful pincer, and like you said, it was all about the ultimates. Leaky into the wall, Galio to finish off, and they also caught the Talia.
Oh, here we go. 1v1 at 80 carry. It's Siva versus Zeri. Through the minion wave, getting blocked out, but the lightning crash down gives so much movement speed. Damage as well. Shouldn't keep it going with an auto heal up. Dodges away. Sean gets the solo bolo as close as they come.
Yeah, what a good kite back from Shun on that one. And you can see Cascada, he was trying to chase it down, but he misses the comeback on the boomerang, a bit slower on the speed into that one. We will pop into the topside fight again. I think the key difference here is Vision has a much harder time trying to impact this. He goes down first on the left side, and then Leaky with the flash in for the positioning was so critical. Just getting the two-man wall bang and then finishing off the rest.
As you said, Clement, the punch is huge. Like, DCG use those ultis, all collapsing at once. The damage a bit slow to come out, which also supports your point at the end. But for DCG, when that punch comes down, if CFO are in the middle of it, it's a disaster. And disaster it is with now a 2+K gold lead. And the Herald that was stolen and went over to Nesty. So 2-0 and 3, 2-0 and 1, Soul Lane set up for success. And that jungle lead we're talking about means less and less now that we have seen how much work Hana can do, even being a level or about 30 CS behind.
Yeah, and this really changes a lot of things here because in the mid lane, Galio is so fed to the point he should be able to shove in, completely disregard missions to Leah.
Yeah.
And the side lanes are under so much threat. He might not have the Ghost, but he can just walk over with the Predator and start finding damage on the side. So I feel like CFO are now in almost being forced into a completely defensive mode. And if they want to make plays, I think they have to start with mid. It has to be with someone putting down SD.
Sean, as he goes over the wall, lands no damage. This happens with Woody as well, so kind of dangerous as Koala comes back in. But that was Sean having to get out in the nick of time, taking half his health for the trade.
Yeah, we can see CFO trying to look for some ganks into the bottom side. The pings for the blue side went down. But again, it's all about how this Galio can impact those lanes. He can cancel out the cannon barrage quite easily. And I would say have a lot more impact than the Talia in that regard too. So no, I feel like CFO are left just trying to find Nesty, a kill onto Nesty first and see where they can go from there.
And I would say that, you know, Nesty is 5-0, almost 100% kill participation. I would say that CS normally would be worrying, but as you alluded to earlier, there's so much damage. Everfrost is now completed. And I wanted to look at the other side lane as well, Clement. Leaky's kind of doing what Rest has been doing on this now. 30 CS up right now. That team fight ulti is insane. And Rest is behind in a lane for the first time, I think, in a very long time. I don't think I've seen Rest, you know, in a dangerous position, despite being the GP, in quite a while.
Yeah, and this is down 30 CS, which is quite a bit to look at. I don't think he's going to be coming back into this lane anytime soon. So CFO basically have to wait on and try to see if they can use the Weaver's Wall and Shun's damage at this point to claw something back. Now, Cascada is by himself, so that could be an opening here. As CFO don't want to give up this Infernal Dream.
Ward on the back of the pit. Gemini is still quite fed here with the Kempung Chainsword, but Nesty using himself, the ulti as Gemini. Heartbreaker, yep, he's out and can't get the steal. DCG in with the Infernal now as the Hexed Soul comes in. And Clement, what do you think this time? Because you had a pretty strong opinion about it last game. Kind of curious as to your take.
Definitely more favorable to DCG, I think, in this situation. The keep away is less useful when you're trying to kite out other people, and I think it's a little bit more beneficial when you're actually chasing down targets.
Nice and sliver though.
Yeah, that's going to be some pretty bonkers use of the next second.
Yeah, on ricochets as well, like, that's, I don't know, does it follow up on all ricochets? Surely, it wouldn't. It's just the first proc, right?
Yeah, I think it's the first ricochet only.
But,
on hits.
to be fair, if you're ricocheting that much, 8 bounces, by the time it goes to someone else, you know, maybe we're like 10 seconds down the track, you get the second proc assault, and it comes through all again, on constant reset as junglers going to meet each other, but look at Woody now on top of Hana, and going so deep here is to force Gemini back. And it's right before the next Herald spawns up in 30 seconds. As Shun moves to top side, and Koala now solo defending under turret, but DCG are beelining it to the top lane. As Nesty with the Predator, Gemini mission now scared to kite back, but kite back, they'll do so successfully. As DCG aren't slowing the pace anytime soon.
That's a really fast Galio trying to walk out here. It looks like CFO are just going to try and slow people down, see if they can get a lucky pick with the cannon barrage, but they're not actually committing members to the full-on interchange fight. They know the chase potential is off front right there too high. They're happy to just feed Rest a little bit for CS, get him in position here, and I'm interested to see how they can use the tempo that they've now acquired in the mid lane and bot lane to set up for something elsewhere. They can still very much use the Weaver's Wall. I don't think we've seen a Weaver's Wall just yet. But this would be a good opportunity because someone has to pick up the mid, someone has to pick up the bottom side, and maybe Talia can go top.
30 CS lead from Mission, you're right, we have not seen one. For this mid lane Talia, I think, was it you and I having the discussion where a lot of Talias these days, it's not the first couple of walls, like, you know, what we say with Twisted Fate and other global or semi-global ultimates. Like, for these Talias, it's these third, fourth dragon fights, it's these second heralds or, you know, Baron setups as well. That means so much to Talia is, you know, we're going to have to wait and see. Mission is still one of the greatest mid laners in the PCS. We have that expectation that this Talia that is almost 50 CS up will be able to get up and set up one of those walls.
Yeah, and all it really takes is just one seismic shove onto the back line.
That's it.
Gotta, you know, Sivir still a very short range champion, 500 range, so if you can find that with the spell shield down, then that instantly goes for the fight here. It just seems like a little bit too late here as Koala tries some cheeky look back on the Herald.
Yeah.
Interesting play.
Maybe I try to get the knockback so he can get a pulverized around. Maybe it's a big brain play. You know, DCG walk next to the Herald, they feel safe. But speaking of safe, I mean, that turret is a breeze away from falling down. So for DCG, still looking for their first turret blood. As we pan down to the bottom lane, Rest now has 500 doubloons, so he can get the first upgrade on his ulti. Will CFO shift their jungler to top side to try and force down Nesty.
Nesty does have the magic shield still. It's going to be very hard to take down. I don't think they can manage this unless Nesty walks into a combo.
True.
Not going to do so. Actually keeps his distance and just uses the Winds of War, which was buffed on 12.13. Get a little bit more percent damage coming from that ability.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to be doing a lot of damage considering he's fast-tracking to his second item as well. Nesty is someone who, so far this game, has been the better mid lane, as we said. As forward goes Leaky, Hunter's behind him. That's why, bully out Rest. That's a good game plan from DCG as Hunter survives in the back end, and this turret is going to be dropping, making the second turret in a matter of minutes for Deep Cross game.
Yeah, massive lead for them, and this opens up the entire bot side for the chase down. As we have a mission with the TP here, I think he's just trying to get into position for the next break.
Yep. He's got a needlessly large rod as well, but hey, DCG almost up 4,000 gold. I mean, this third dragon, we're going to have to see a pretty good Weaver's Wall because almost on second items is Chris Carter, as Zonya's just picked up by Nesty Clement. And that Trinity Force up by Leaky as he backs away should evolve too. And we're going to get the dragon started, but DCG just aren't here yet.
Alright, let's see if we can get the first Weaver. It should be easy, and they don't even need it.
No wall.
As we have tempo TPs going up onto the other side to take the top lane tower. So CFO at least avert disaster and give themselves even more time to scale up, especially for the game.
I was going to say, but Leaky does have himself a dead man's play. So we have second item here. Kind of interesting. We've always seen Black Cleaver. Like, this Gnar is obviously Clement. A little bit more focused about that all-in we talked about and living to see the fight so that, you know, Chris Carter can clean it up.
Yeah, Dead Bands is very situational. I would say it's a little bit better in lane and better in chase downs.
As going under turret, maybe he's going to keep it alive for a little bit longer. Under turret, Koala doesn't get the stun though as Leaky jumps back in. Ambitious from the Gnar as now Shun is here to help the fight. Weaver's Wall, Clement, it's not coming through because Mission is looking towards the bottom side for now. So unfortunate here is, oh no. Mission has Flash Cleanse available, flashes over the wall, and is having one hell of a quiet game.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that, you know, Talia was kind of the forced pickup here coming in by CFO. I don't really think Mission's Talia is on the same level as something like Nessie. I feel like he lacks a bit of that, well, you know, I'm just going to leave lane and so be it kind of attitude coming in. from his side. So very quiet from him. And Hana's coming in.
On the hunt actually pops as well, and Hana's sprinting at them as Nesty flashes for the Everfrost. There's the ulti from Shun in the backline as he tries to cut it out, but Nesty explodes his counterpart. DCG with a pick, and you can't build a wall if you're dead, Clement.
Very true words being spoken right there. Beautiful stuff from DCG. Look at the angles that they're cutting through. They're coming from the old jungle of CFO. So CFO don't really have a time to react to that left flank. We also have to remember that right now Sivir, if she gets one of those takedowns, she's going to reset that on the hunt and go even further with a Yumi on top.
And the cooldown reduction or ability haste is now called that you get with, you know, those auto attacks, 0.5 on each of your abilities. Like Boomerang Blade comes out left, right, and center, ricochet galore. It's so nice to have late game Sivir in a team fight now because it's just so reliable, Clement. As for Chris Gardy, he picked up the rapid fire cannon, so speaking of reliable, he'll now have the range. While Renan's Hurricane is an interesting purchase here from Shun. And I guess he knows that he is going to be the one who has to kite it out.
I think he understands it's a dive comp. Let's see if Rest gets to dive out of this one, as he does get the slow.
Mega. He's just autoing him to death. Rest ulties. Leaky goes Mega against the wall. See you later, kid. All right, Rest getting bested. Never thought I'd see the days. The Weaver's wall is good. Chris Carter running away, but Nesty's ulti, no denied. He can't get out in the nick of time, and the shielded around actually ends up killing Koala. And I'm an Australian. I know that's a reason to call the police, as it is a 1-for-1, and CFO finally making use of the play, but it's in response with the whole map burning in the process.
Yeah, Leaky with the solo kill in the bot lane, decides not to have top, gets a little bit back. But you know, we are seeing some opportunities open up on the flip side. Finally, a good use of the Weaver's wall to try catch backline. They got the flash onto Criscata, which makes him that much more vulnerable to mission later on. So we'll see if that does end up panning out. We're gonna watch the top lane play again. I believe this was actually started by BCG. Yeah, they weren't just happy with the two-man on bot. They wanted a little bit more, and that turned out to be a bit over-aggressive as he tries to pee him out and gets stopped.
Slummy takes Koala with him as well. It's like, how dare you? CFO, again, that's the most proactive play we've seen in this game. And it comes off the back of DCG still trading out for the better, because Inatara on the bottom side almost goes down. DCG were able to give Leaky that solo kill, or at least he took it himself, as DCG now know that CFO are gearing up for the Dragon. But Clement, my concern is that there is a 50 CS lead top laner who almost has himself a force of nature, and we almost have a Banshees from Nesty. Like, they are accelerated.
Absolutely, and whoever that death man's blade touches is gonna get trapped.
Hana maybe not reading the patch notes as well as Koala finds Nesty, but the Everfrost use is so good. The poke as well from the Boomerang Blade. Chris Carter's already got the on the hunt as Leaky now has a mini-nah as he goes Mega. The Yumi helps out. Mission is destroyed, and CTBC flying Oyster are not flying in this game.
Mission just hasn't been able to find some good positioning here. That's the, you know, one thing I do criticize about him a lot is he typically doesn't play all that safe on champions that are relatively lower range to begin with. You know, that's going to give DCG the second Hexac Drake. CFO, I still think this composition is strong enough where they can come back into the late game, but they're not holding on all that well. What we've been seeing is CFO constantly getting picked off in the middle of the map just with these flanks coming in, and I don't think they realize that the dead man's play was really there. That's going to keep someone in place right there. They have a good anti-ramp, but I don't see the reason to chase on the left side. I feel like that was way over ambitious, and it kind of goads Mission to go into a bad spot. Walking over that ramp, it's definitely not the place you want to be.
And we kind of talked about DCG's comp in draft, right? As you said, ult-reliant, one punch. The other thing we didn't mention is if DCG find themselves ahead, like this Sivir adds so much follow-up. The movement speed as well, Clement. Like, Leaky is taking names now with the force of nature. Hana's in a great position as well, despite being... He was like 30, 40 CS in jungle down in the first 10 minutes. Has now caught up, now taking over. And even though there's like CS leads elsewhere, topside, in reverse mid, bots even, I think the biggest thing to take away right now is that DCG know how to pull a trigger. That's what we've known them for, is maybe CFO going to do a little bit of that as Koala comes through. Weaver's wall to zone him out. But as Mission comes down here, Baron is being started. Leaky looking for the TP, but he won't be able to find it with the seismic shove as he buys time. A Hop looking for availability, and Leaky's still there. He's going to get over the wall, almost kills Mission, who flashes. But in the meanwhile, Cannon Barrage comes up on the top side. They don't have enough damage, and DCG's attempt is thwarted, so a CFO win it will be.
Well, that was such a smart play from CFO. They actually only expend 1 TP, making it look like 2, and Mission is actually able to hold on to his teleport and still get another wave. So really smart play by CFO right there. When you see the TPs, you really don't know if it's a 1 TP or a 2 TP, so you kind of have to back out, respecting that anyway. And I'd say CFO with a very decent comeback, they cut the gold lead to 2.
They did. It was looking pretty dire. I mean, that one pick-off delaying Baron as well. And finding the shutdown on Leaky, that's the more important part. Clement, did you see who went to? Is it Mission or Rest who picked that up? Because either way, never mind. Doesn't matter because Gemini is going to be flashed on, but he has the Unbreakable. But hey, what did I say? They can always pull a trigger. DCG don't back down, and with the TP in, it's go time, baby.
There's also no smite on the other team, so DCG should have this on a lock. The only question, I think, is can CFO damage this with the Weaver's wall? Can they get some stragglers on the way out?
Use goes. Well, Mission wants to come on in. Good poke down. Leaky about to go Mega Gnar, though. Side big shove backwards. Will it kill him in time? No. As they turn for the play outside the pit, forget the Baron. They want to kill them all. As Leaky gets one down, though. Shun is still free firing. DCG is 3-man. Mission's quiet all game. Then he pops up and hits them with that one.
Oh boy, what a massive play coming in from CFO. I feel like DCG actually overchased a little bit on that one. Sivir was dealing out so much damage. They could have held the pit there and just get the clean smite off. But they chase, and Mission is able to turn around. I think the most critical thing there was that the focus fire was on Koala. And Koala, before he goes down, he still is able to get a second Q off in the fight. That was absolutely huge with the knock-up and the time buy. So we're going to watch this one again. Gemini, of course, we know gets caught off. I think most people just forget about Hextech breaks. We see this so often. They just kind of forget that the enemy can get back on the map quickly. So that happens. And let's watch the turnaround from DCG. The big problem for them is they focus down on Koala, and Koala's pretty taken care at this point. He has the ultimate there. It takes a long time to kill him. They aren't able to focus off on the Shun, and Koala even gets to get a knock-up on the end off of Leaky, the most fed member here. And this is the play. Oh, the three-man.
Dude, every time we, if we chat badly about Mission, then he just pops up like it's back. I'm so sorry, Mission. Father Mission, I'm so sorry. Please. 3 items, that 3 knockback is now brought him back into the game. He's flame horizoning Nesty, and he always had a big CS lead in this lane, but just wasn't relevant. And now we've got a CFO that have almost matched in gold Clement, 500 for lead, which is nothing. And they can contest this dragon. Look how confident they are now.
Shin also has the Infinity Edge. This is absolutely massive. He's going to get that before Chris got a big damage spike here. As long as they keep Koala in the front line, they should be fine. All
Leaky
Koala
has no Mega Gnar.
Hold on to the W.
Leaky has no Mega Gnar yet as well. Worth mentioning here as Dragon resets for a moment, taking the Yuumi on track as Leaky about to go Mega CFO. It'll depend on this oldie, the one punch there with Nesty having his own. But as they get zoned off and the steal doesn't come through, even as close as it was with the smite, DCG pick up the 3rd Dragon, and even against the Baron up team, as the Baron up team, DCG now trying to find opposite angles to push forward and equalize some of the goal.
A little bit surprised about that from CFO. I actually felt like they could have tried to play that a little bit more.
Yep.
Get some more.
Riscata knocked back. Okay, the Cannon Barrage is actually going to turn it anyway. The final chapter of Hana tries to spin his way out of there, but Koala is unbreakable for a reason. With Hana dying, CFO with the 5v4. DCG have to piece out of there. Clement, we are starting to see CFO just run with it when DCG have no more steam in the tank.
And after this, I feel like CFO are going to retake the gold lead, just clearing up the jungle here. This is a problem I feel like with the DCG's composition. Once you start losing some of those fights, the weakness of Galio becomes very apparent because you're just missing someone in terms of the damage profile here. So DCG are hyper reliant on Cascada for their damage, but unfortunately their kill allocation is pretty poor. Cascada has 0 kills so far out of 12. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but also just the fact that this composition does kind of have that expiration date.
Just picked up the Infinity Edge, but 0, 2, and 5. Further to your point, you know, he's been behind considering that the whole of the map has been focusing around Leaky's lane, around the jungle interference provided by Hana. And, you know, Nesty is 110 CS behind. He might be matching items for now, but they are utility items, Clement. Banshees, Zhonya's. We're only just getting towards the Void Star 4. Whereas you look on the other side, Mission has a Shadow Flame, which against Galio is just so OP. You know, against all the shielding that comes through from Yumi, the value coming out of Mission right now is massive. And with the Void Staff on top of that, it is just going to be hell for Chris Carter if he ever gets caught again. So for DCG, Clement, give me a bit of a roundup because Baron's coming up in a minute 30. And I want to know what they do to bring this game back with the semi-global they have and the Sivir who is getting into that scaling point.
So DCG still have a good shot at just bursting someone down and just killing them. So the main thing here is I think that whenever they know Alistar is somewhere else, they can make a pretty proactive play. So as we just saw, Koala in the mid lane trying to pick up some of those stacks and experience. Then DCG can move in very deep into the top side. Same happens if Leaky gets to get a bit of a split push and they get Gameplank on the other side. Then they can move in. But right now, if they move in 5v5 and they just run at CFO, I think CFO are going to make them pay. The damage here is just way too high. You're going to be rushing through these barrels, and the Zeri is also extremely fed. Not to mention, Mission can kind of one-shot your front line at this point. So DCG are hyper-reliant on side lane picks, and for CFO to not be able to respond in equal numbers.
And let's be real, items like Zhonya's kind of counter that as well, right? You buy time, you give CFO windows after everything's been exhausted, and the Zhonya's that was just picked up flat out by Mission here as he shows an item advantage over Nesty. I also mentioned while you were talking there, Clement, that the Infinity Edge has been picked up, of course, before. LVR's the one I'm trying to say, for Shun. So, full item advantage between the AD carries. As Dragon's coming up in a minute 15, Baron's now up again. Gold is neck and neck, and Leaky in a Meganar. It's going to come down to him, but a ward's there. And so this Meganar is going to run out of steam, and CFO just backed off and played with the time.
Really nicely done by CFO here. They actually bait Leaky to overcommit a little bit, come in, and great positioning there by Koala. You can't stop the Meganar from engaging on you by just headbutting him away. So, good positioning. They give Gameplank a little bit more time to get his Infinity Edge now. And this is where Cascada's life starts to get pretty hard. He is outranged without the Ricochet or Boomerang. So, I just feel like in these team fights, you have to see Hana go in first. You have to see a really close coordination with Leaky and a Nesty, or else they're just going to get blown up.
Just walked over there. Spidey senses from Nesty. They're not able to get the Banshee's Veil, which is going to help him out, but as Baron has spawned, CFO with this very fed Zeri. I'm going to do this so quickly, and look, Leaky's not nearby. No Meganar. Clement is just going down with TP being burned. Baron is going to die. They commit to the play as Chris Carter runs on in, looking for those Dream Ricochets. Look at the lineup. Ricochet, 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 Ricochet. It bounces, it hurts, but CFO are out in the nick of time. Now with the neutral and this top side push.
Super smart play coming in from CFO. They understand that Leaky is the only one that can realistically survive an engage. They see he goes mini, rush the Baron down, and DCG are still not in position right here. Gnar isn't here. For more.
And so they're going for the dive. I mean, Nesty needs 5 good dodges, though as Hana goes in, but he's going to be burnt to a crisp as he jumps on. Hextech Dragon taken, but the base is now broken. They don't have a jungler. Chris Carter needs to be the one to defend as CFO are backing away after that free in hip.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was totally worth it here, but we have to remember DCG now have the Hextech Soul, which means that if just one fight goes well, they can chase down the entirety of the composition right here. An interesting trade for an inhibitor, for sure. But you know, they're still gonna have this buff when the inhibitor comes back up.
That's right. And look, Clement, there is a lot of wave clear because of one champion in the game, let's be real. Now, Chris Carter has now got his LDR too. So he caught up a little bit there with... He's just been picking up so much CS. We're getting to 400 CS Siva. Not the same win con, but definitely feels like late game 80 carries are where we're going to be talking next. Hell, Rest as well, right? Rest is someone who's been bullied all game long, but this GP who has been farming up, catching up to Leaky, now has 4.5 items. Rest is massive, so that barrel chain can also catch us by surprises. Good Weaver's Wall set up for the inner turret bomb.
And also just taking a lot of unnecessary damage, but should be fine on that one. And DCG, this is so hard for them because they can't find any of the flanks. CFO doing a really good job at sniping people across walls and also denying vision. There's only one ward onto the left side, and I feel like that's too easy of a ramp for CFO to just seal off here. So
yeah,
they're just going to move across the map, continue to do this, and will likely play towards the bottom side inhibitor as they have the top open.
But just look at that Baron power play. 4,500 over that here for CFO. They've taken so much with this one objective. And, you know, we come back to how CFO ramped into the game, the scaling we talked about. It's at that point we are getting max items. As Shun's going to back now too. Is that GA fully complete? Yes, it is. Full items on the Zeri. And almost full items on Mission, on Rest too. But we are just hitting that point, so we're getting mega late. Tell me a little bit again about your favoritism for who scales better, because I think it's going to be a hard job for DCG when, as you said, Nesty is not holding that same punch as he did earlier in the game.
I definitely think CFO have the better late game comp. We talked about this in the draft phase as well. As long as CFO don't group up for a big Mega Gnar chain, I think they're fine. They can survive the initial burst damage. And right now, it's not like the earlier mid-game where Galio damage actually matters. It doesn't. Wukong damage doesn't matter. So, it's CFO basically just have to look at Sivir. And that's all they need to pay attention to. Once Sivir goes down, no damage on DCG, you'll roll through the entire composition.
Just note, by the way, like all those members that can get onto Sivir in the backline, Gemini has a Frostfire Gauntlet. So we got Tank Viego coming through with the Kempunk Chainsword, or Bruiser more like it. But so many ways to survive here. That initial burst we keep talking about. So makes it harder here for DCG as CFO look at the sync up. Topside wave crashing in, Rest waits, bottom waits as well. CFO going to make it so all these waves are coming in at the same time, but Sivir exists, so never mind.
Oh, that boomerang clear is just...
ready again?
That's depressing, to be honest.
W. Goodbye, minion wave. Best thing about Sivir, does the wall matter? No. Chris Carter simply presses W and Q, and it's gone. So getting into the base is going to be a different thing completely.
I like CFO tried. You know, they did exactly as I said. They were like, no, the top lane's pushing. Super minion wave. Let's go bot. This is a smart macro play. And Sivir just says no. No, I feel like that kind of feels a little bit unfair with how far the Ricochet can reach on the minion wave, but this is where we're at. I feel like CFO need to change tack. Gonna have to play for the Elder this time around.
Dude, the fact that it goes 8 now, and it can bounce between minions.
Yeah.
The crazy thing was before, it would go to every minion indefinitely, and it would clear waves. But if you have a shortened minion wave, remembering that there are only 7 minions in a wave, you know, in a cannon wave that is, it feels super easy. It's now for the setup, the barrel chain not connecting. We're grouping around mid, Clement, as Chris Carter continues to just wave clear and be a bot. CFO moving up towards Baron, but Elders in a minute as well. These timers could sync up.
Baron's going to come in first, so I think CFO are doing the right thing here by putting their foot down onto the top side. Again, they have a lot of barrels, and DCG don't have a lot of range. So they're holding on to a very strong position here. And I feel like DCG needs some sort of a flank to go in onto this one. But Leaky's still so far away. I wonder how Leaky will approach this. Is he even clearing the minion waves? So CFO are happy to just start this one.
I mean, TP's available, but Mega Nah, as you said, it's going to be popped now. So if he TPs, it has to be on the dot here. As Baron comes through, and it's gone. Okay, DCG, now's the time not to take the fight back away, as Elder's going to be up in 20 seconds, Clement. And the extra bit of stats here for CFO might do them good for the upcoming fighters. Teleports in from Leaky just to be here.
Yeah, you know, getting a BF sword, definitely not a bad thing, but here comes the slows.
Chris Carter in a choke, Chris Carter in a choke. He's got the ricochets, and I do not want to see CFO move to a choke against the Sivir, Clement. I feel like that's another condition as to how they could lose the game, is with Baron. They're channeling up the mid wave, but Elder's going to go down. It's going to go down super quick. They need to get here. Weaver's wall, 4K, 3K, categorize, right? Oh no! DCG get the Elder. Leaky's gonna go Mega Nah, and even though they've taken a massive chunk, CFO can't fight. DCG with the Elder.
That was the worst wall possible! I don't understand the wall! What was that mission? He literally walled off his entire front line.
People didn't believe in the wall at first, did they? And then they still didn't believe in the wall. And then there was no wall. You know what I'm referring to? Everyone out there understands. Mission's wall there, not as good as what we saw on the side lane. DCG to have the Elder. And Clement is not permanent, but this buff is going to allow them to take these 5v5s when we weren't so confident.
Oh man, that one definitely was an interesting play right there. CFL still had a pretty decent chance of walking in onto that one and, you know, contesting, but oh, the angle on missions, Talia just, oh man, that one was a weird one. That one definitely tells you that, you know, Talia definitely more of a takeaway pick than what CFO picked themselves most of the time. So I think DSG, this is a great chance for them to just get an inhibitor. I don't think CFO are going to be able to contest. The teams are close enough, and the engage is dangerous enough to the point where I feel like they can just go for this. And you can even see, you know, mission's not even here.
Oh my god, Rest. Hang on. Clement, the problem is, you know what I'm seeing? Ricochet near a turret. And with Elder, Rest can actually just die from the passive. Now he has the GA, but with Elder coming in and a Mega Nah as well, Sivir on turret control is so strong. As Nesty looks for an angle now with the flash. The flank here. Not the flank, rather the escape from DCG is going to be taken, and inhibitor now broken. Base damaged. DCG giving back some of the medicine recently given out by CFO.
Yeah, and this top one is going to chain into, I believe Baron buff might come up a little bit sooner compared to the Elder. Yeah, it will. So
yeah, it will.
They get the bot lane, they chain that into another big objective top, and this is one where CFO, I feel like they can still wait it out just fine. They do have the wave clear to survive this one, but I don't think they have the timers. I'm not sure if they have the timers for Baron. They will have the timers for Baron. So they will be able to walk in onto the Baron without the Elder Dragon. But I think this is also still the best place for DCG to strike. There's a lot of distance there. They do have the Hex Tech sold to be able to chase targets down. I feel like the game has shifted now to where DCG are just looking at that objective. This time, I don't think they're going to let CFO rush it. They're just going to walk there, use the Elder Drake to kind of ward everyone away, use the bot lane and super minions to pull CFO and just start the Baron.
It's so close, though. I mean, gold irrelevant. Soul's still there for DCG. Remember that they took that as Leaky now in a side lane. But look, it's because they were spotted. CFO was spotted through mid. And Leaky, now as he takes this, is going to get no complaints from anyone in CFO. This will drop down, opens up the inhibitor turret next, and Leaky just adding pressure 2 minutes before the Baron. And Clement, I have to say, 44-minute game, and Shun's going to stop the back. Weaver's wall might be a hop out here. Is this a crucial mistake? No, he does it too early. He'll go into Mega Nah, but Nesty needs to help him. Flashing on Dimension, trying to get the mid laner, not popping the ulti. Good relief bounce here as he survives, because Nesty now nearby as Koala is caught in transition, but he has the unbreakable will. With Yuumi on top, Koala flashes on. And that means CFO now with a couple of tools down, but also those flashes mean so much in the late game.
That was beautifully done there by Leaky. He actually goes into close range versus Shun. dodges a lot of those burst fires, and then turns around onto mission to force the Zhonya's and to just walk away. Beautiful stuff from him, and that's going to lead into a situation where we have a 40-second difference between the Baron timer and the Elder Drake. Also, if you look at the inhibitor, that's still 220. So it means that DCG, if they clear out this bottom wave, it's already double super minion stacking onto this one. DCG.
Clement.
Yeah?
I'm going to say one thing to you because I'm worried if the fight's going to start off. I need you to tell me 6th item, Navori quick plays Chris Carter. He sold his boots, and as we get toward the fight, the reason I have to interrupt you is because the Shun goes over the wall. It means this Sivir is absolutely unleashed. DCG forcing out yet another flash here from Rest. Clement, you're up again because with Baron now 30 seconds away, CFO are getting called out left, right, and center.
Yeah, this is so hard for them to walk in, and they can't escape here. They're relying on the TP from GP, so if I'm DCG, I'm just going to charge at you. Once I get the chance, all I need is one auto attack, get the Dead Man's Plate slow down, and I can start the chase.
Dead Man's Plate and Hextech Soul.
Oh, true.
There's so much slow here. And remember what we talked about with the ricochets. You know, you get to the point where the cooldown comes off and a ricochet hits because it's bouncing so many times. And as Leaky goes mechanized and zone them off, look at the damage. 6 item Sivir that just takes his Cannon Barrage being used once again on the objective. Smite needs to come in. Hana finds it quite easily. Rest taking damage on the back as here's the hero's entrance, but it is defensively used to get out in the nick of time. Ricochets galore. And CFO now heading towards the Elder. 10 seconds, Clement, a 46-minute game. It comes down to this.
And we have Leaky coming back with full HP. There needs to be a good barrel chain onto the back line. Chris needs to go down.
Yeah, and Hana goes for the setup. I mean, Chris Carter doesn't have the Yumi.
Mission,
they're looking for Mission, but look, Mission by himself. Leaky coming back in as TP burn. At least they get the flash out, but that was one from Hana. While CFO now have 5 members. Mission low, but Nesty with an angle. TP. Look at Leaky.
They're going to finish the game
while
here.
Chris Carter's running forward. Koala's already popped the ulti one. Good comes in, but again, new Sivir just hurt so much. Hana's buying time, stopping them back. While Leaky's on the last turret, Chris Carter's still alive, and even with GA, Sivir is now absolutely bonkers. Is that the best late game scaler, Clement? I don't know, but with a triple kill going down and Leaky going into GA, he might not end the game, but he makes it so damn close.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4v2 onto the bot lane here. The question is, can they actually wave clear this? I don't think so.
No.
DCG, though, let's see. They're going to go with the minion wave already in mid, at least double inhibitor for now. But the timers are still 30 seconds up. I think DCG
Ricochet against turrets. Rest running forward, doesn't get the barrel. So Chris Carter survives for now, runs up to this GP. And DCG for this match mattered so much. This could be what they look back on. And where they secured first here with our first place matchup, going over to Deep Cross Gaming.
Oh, beautiful game from DCG to take this one down. A lot of nail-biter moments. We have to start from the very get-go here. DCG found great uses of Nesty's Galio. They really caught Shun off guard in bot lane. To be honest, Zeri was winning the lane the entire time, but after the 2 kills went over to the side of Chris, that no longer was the case. And then we saw a huge Herald fight that gave Nesty a 2-0-3 start into the game. That was the setup table for them to snowball a lot of these Drakes, to control the mid lane, and then we saw the comeback from CFO. It was double Baron steals taken before DCG could even react. It was starting to get to the point where